So I'm here to answer some questions on some funk techniques. Basically, the main one was how to hold your pick when you're playing. There's really no set in stone, kind of bottom line to hold your pick, but I'm just going to tell you what I do, and maybe it'll help you in the long run. But I use a Tortex, the 60, the orange picks. They're they're actually one of my favorites now, and I use them all the time. But I used to use medium picks. I went to heavy. I used the yellow Tortex, and now I'm back to the orange. So these are like thin to medium, and not really saying that this is like the best pick to use. It's really based on your comfort. Whether you have a pick this size or small size or jazz size. But the way that I hold my pick is I play on this side here, this flat side. I know that it's basically you hold your pick like this, you play it like this. But I always play on this side, and that's really how I play normally with everything. I mean, with rock and everything, because I've just gotten so used to playing on this. And I guess it's because with the rhythm, I just can get more control out of it. So with funk, your hand is constantly moving, your right hand. So I think that's why I'm so used to playing on this side. You could play on this side too. I just find that sometimes it gets really uncomfortable, that I have more control when I'm holding it like this. The song that's being used for the question was a Daft Punk song, of course, played by the superb Nile Rodgers on rhythm. Basically, your hand is constantly moving, and your left hand or your right, depending on, if you're lefty or righty, this hand is making the patterns. So in Nile Rodgers' rhythm in Daft Punk, his rhythm is like, this isn't exact, but this is what I get. So it's kind of like that kind of pattern. So so I kind of sing that in my head, and I'm sorry, my singing's terrible. But so I put that in my head, and what I do is I do my rhythm, my hand, okay, and then I'm doing the rhythm. So that's basically when you're playing funk. It's always good. I mean, you probably do this as a guitar player anyways, but kind of hear what you're playing, kind of like if you're doing a solo and you kind of, singing that in your head. Basically, that's the same thing with funk is these patterns. It's all about these little patterns that you're putting in your head, and you're singing them in your head. So that one pattern, I'll be playing that, but then I might add a little more to it. So I might do that. I might change it up a little bit. So it's always good to to practice it a little bit, and sometimes it's always good, instead of just trying to do it without anything, it's always good to work with a metronome, or even like in YouTube there's a bunch of drum beats that you can pull up in like different tempos. So like I got this one here that's 110 beats per minute, a straight beat, and it's just some guy playing drums. It's always good to like try to work with at least some type of percussion, just so you can feel it. So 3, 4. That's how I learned basically when I first started to play funk. I actually wasn't that good, and I was out on tour and I realized that I was not very good. So the MD slash my mentor, he was really good at funk rhythm. So when I got off tour and during a break, I was like, you got to teach me funk. So I paid him to give me funk lessons, and what we did basically was I went to his house and he just like put on some percussion beats or some drum beats, and we just sit there and jam, and he'd be like, okay, let's jam in E, or let's jam in A. And he would come up with some patterns, and he would say, okay, play this pattern, and then he would tell me to mix it up, so I would mix it up. So that's basically what I did. I think for about a month I went to him and really developed my technique on that. And the other thing too that he talked about was more like your stance and your groove. Like, find your groove. I mean, it's kind of silly, but it could be a head bob, or your foot tapping, or your shoulders or something. But the most important thing is to find your stance, and kind of feel it. Another tip or thing to help you with your technique is to jam out with some James Brown. That's basically what I did a lot with him too, was just put on a James Brown record and just jam on it, because basically he's playing, some of his songs are like an E or E flat, and it's like 20 minutes of the same groove, but it helps actually to feel that groove. So basically I think I have some James Brown here. So basically, like that groove, is the E flat 9 chord. They call it James Brown, or they even Jimi Hendrix used it a lot. But basically, his groove is, if you listen to his guitar, it's like real straight. It's just. So it's hitting that E9, it's hitting that C. But that's where you put your pattern in your head. You're like, whatever, and you put that pattern in your head, and you just play it throughout, and it helps. I mean, just redundant is good, because it helps with your rhythm, and it helps keep going. So. And so again, I'm using my pick like this. Again, no special way on how you hold your pick, but I found that this is the easiest way. And so hopefully this helps at least a little bit, and I can get more into some of the techniques of like your hands and fingers, just feeling it. Like if you're new to this, or you want to learn more about how to play funk, I can get more into it later on in another video. But I hope this helps. Peace and love.